If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
So last week we were discussing about the report. Okay, so once the AR has been posted, I told that okay, so we can go to the accounting, financial accounting, accounts payable, and we come to the account, and we are going to see the line items, and so we are seeing an open items. So last week we discussed here again, the payment due is going to be the payment due, and it is an overdue. We can see it is an overdue. The overdue tells about, okay, see for example here, this is the line, okay, this is the document we have posted last week, okay, 51001, and the total amount is 151. Okay, when I go to this particular document, I can see there is a payment term has been derived from there. From where the payment term is getting derived, how this payment term is coming and hitting automatically. The payment term is getting derived from the vendor master records. Okay, vendor is also called the BP. I'm going to explain you the classes on the BP also. What is the BP and everything? We have some classes on it. Okay, so when I take this vendor, or when I take this particular vendor, if I go to a transaction called as a BP, business partner. BP is nothing but a business partner in SAP ECC. In SAP ECC, we don't have the CVI integration. Earlier, we supposed to call it as a CVI. Today we are going to be calling it as a CVI. CVI. What is CVI? Customer Vendor Integration. Customer and vendor integration. We call it as a concept called as a BP. We call it as a concept called as a BP. It is a central master record for both customer and vendor. Now only one transaction code. BP is only the one transaction code we are going to be using. But in SAP ECC, we are going to be creating a vendor master record separately and the customer master record separately. But today we are going to be calling it as a BP. I'll explain you why it is going to be called as a BP. What is the CVI? CVI is nothing but an integration. Okay, we are going to be categorizing the vendors and customers based on the roles. Actually, we call it as BP roles. We call it as the BP roles. Very, very important topic. We'll discuss. Okay. Now, when I go to this vendor, okay, I'm going to be the BP as a transaction code, and I'll be giving that vendor here. So you can see here the vendor number should be given here, and once the vendor number has been given, that is called as a business partner, I'll click on start. So when I click on the start, it will display the vendor account. Double click on this vendor account. I want to see the details of this vendor. So how this payment term is getting derived here. So the payment term is getting defaulted from the vendor master record. So if I go to the vendor master record, this is the vendor master record. Okay. So you can see the address and everything. Now here, these are going to be called as a BP role. Just this is an overview. We have a separate classes on the BP. Just I'm explaining the overview on the BP. So I'll go and change the role of the BP as a supplier of the financial accounting. See, I'm changing the role. Earlier, the role was BP Business Partner General. So in the general, we cannot see anything about the company code details. You can see the address of the vendor, and you can see the bank details about the vendor. These are the bank details about the vendor, and we can see all the address details and everything. But if I want to see the company code details of this particular BP, I need to change the role. Go to the role called as the supplier financial accounting. And if I click on the supplier financial accounting, I'll get a tab. I'll get a new tab over here called as the company code. See here. See, you can see here company code. See, company code will come because the company code data is very, very important. If the vendor is not extended to a company code, for example, I'm making the transactions now. I'm making the transactions in which company code? I'm making the transactions in a company code called as the 1710. Okay, 1710 is nothing but my company code here. 1710 is nothing but my company code. If the vendor is not extended to this company codes, you cannot make any transactions. Why? Because the system will throw in a company code. Vendor doesn't exist for the company code 1710. So the company code details are mandatory for every vendor and customer. So if I go to the company code details, See here, this vendor was extended to the company code. He is not a customer. He is only the vendor. See here, he is only the vendor. And here, I told that in the last class, this is a reconciliation account. This account will be reconciling the balances of the vendor balances to my GL. And if I go to the payment transaction, here in the payment transaction, you can see there is the payment term is getting derived. You can see all of you can see here, this is the payment term. So during the maintaining of the vendor master record, we are assigning the payment term. That payment term is called as a 0001. There are a lot of payment terms are there. The payment term is clearly telling that payment immediately without discount. Means you have to make the payment immediately. So the calculation will start from the baseline date. The baseline date is nothing but 01/04/2021. Means from this date, the baseline dates are going to be calculated because the payment term is the immediate payment. So you have to make the payment on or before of 01/04/2021. Why? Because this is the immediate payment. How do the system knows, Mahesh? This is the immediate payment. So this is only the code. This is the payment term code. But how do the system know that the 0001 is the immediate payment, 0002 is some other payments? So here, if I go to the payment terms, here we are going to be defining the payment terms. Okay, SPRO, IMG. If I come to the financial accounting, accounts payables and accounts receivables, and you need to come to the business transactions. In the business transactions, okay, because we are going to be doing the payments and everything here, okay. So I'll go to the incoming invoices. My dear friends, when a when a vendor is sending an invoice to you, it is an incoming payment, incoming invoice. When you are sending the invoice, means it is an outgoing invoice, means outgoing invoices will be sent to the customer. So I'm just maintaining the incoming invoices. Here we have an option called as the maintain terms of payments. If I go to the terms of payment, you can see these all are the terms of payment. There are 21 terms of payments are there. So at present, we have assigned the terms of payment called as the 0001. Yes. Because it depends upon the nature, means what type of transaction, whether the vendor is giving any cash discounts or not, or whether the vendor is giving any payment, the due date for you or not. So it depends upon the nature of the vendor, the invoice is going to be sending. So if I go to the 0001, it is a default, it is the SAP standard. If I select the 0001 and go to the details, here you can see here. So I have not given any percentage, I have not given any number of days. Okay, it's the text I clearly mentioned, payment immediately without discounts. Payment immediately without discount. That is directions. Means it is nothing but it is an immediate payment without any CAD discount. Hey Mahesh, I want to create a new payment term, Mahesh, as per the requirement of the business. Okay, I see the remaining payment terms. One payment term is telling that if you make a payment within 14 days, you will be getting a 2% discount, or otherwise you have to make a payment within 30 days as a due date. Okay, so like this, there are the other payment terms as well. So can I create a new payment term, Mahesh? Yes. Go to the new entries. Go to the new entries, and the payment term should be given with any 4-character code. So just for example, I'm giving a text. I'm giving a text. So why do you create a new payment term? If the requirement doesn't mean, so if the standard in the standard procedure, if you don't find any payment term which meets our requirement, so you have to go and create our payment term. The new payment term has to get created. Otherwise, okay, we cannot post any invoices. So what is this new payment term is telling? Mahesh, the new payment term is telling me that if you make the payments, 10th day, very, very important. See all of you here. You can see here, 10th day. Day, I'm talking about not days. 10th day of the month. Then you will be getting the 2% cash discount. 2% cash deductions. Yes, very good. This is my explanation. I'm going to be giving, this is my explanation here. Very, very important here. So what is here? So today is December 1st, example. Today is a December 1st. So what they're telling, if you make the payment 10th day of the month, then you will be getting the 2% CAD discount. Means what does it mean that? Okay, for example, I'm taking the 2 days. Okay, 01. Okay, I'm taking 12. 01. 2021. I'm taking another date. I'm taking one more date. Okay, here you can see I took December 1st, December 2nd, and December 3rd. You are getting the invoices. You are getting the invoices on the day one. The first invoice. The first invoice. The second invoice you are received on the same day. Okay, and the second you got invoice. And the third invoice I'm going to be receiving on the third day. Okay, that is nothing but I'm going to be calling as a December 1st. For all these invoices, the vendor is going to be the same. I don't have any kind of other vendors. Okay, I'm going to be taking the same vendor here. For all the vendor, okay, the vendor is going to be the same for all the three invoices. All the three invoices, the vendor is going to be the same. And there is no change in the payment term also. That is test. Just now we are creating the test. The test is the payment term. I assign the test as a payment term in the vendor master record. What is this payment term is clearly mentioning here. The payment term very clearly telling me that the 10th day of the month, okay, you can get the 2% CAT discount. So now tell me now, anybody can tell me all these invoices which falls under the same invoice with the same payment term is going to apply as the 10th of this month, or only the December 1st will come as the 10th day?
December 1st.
Not, what about two other invoices?
No.
Whatever. See, the word itself is telling the 10th day.
Okay, all the three invoices get that 2% cash back.
So all the three invoices will get the cash discount, or only the one invoice, because the December 1st means December 10th you have to make the payment. If it is going to be the 2nd December means you have to make the payment on 11th according to the days. If the invoice is coming on 3rd means you have to make the payment on 12th of December. So how do you categorize? So if I apply the same payment term for all the three invoices, when should I make the payment for all the three invoices? That is my question.
For first 11th, second 12th, and third 13th.
Okay, so first 11th, 12th, and 13th. So when I call it as a day, okay. So okay, the first answer is correct. So all the three invoices will fall under the same day. So why? Because I'm using the concept as a day. So I'm going to be giving the fixed day. Fixed day is nothing but 10th day. 10th. Irrespective of whatever the invoices you're going to be sending from the December, okay? So you have to make the payment of 10th of December. It is not a 10 days. It is the 10th December. So what I'm telling here, the fixed day I'm going to be giving. No, Mahesh, it is not the fixed day. Please don't give the fixed day as a 10. So you just remove the fixed day. So here you can tell that 10 days, within the 10 days, if you make the CAT discount, I'll be giving you 2% CAT discount. Then your second answer is going to be answered here, sir. The second answer is going to be answered. The first invoice you have to make on or before of 10th, second invoice 11th of December, third invoice 12th of December. Then I'm going to, because I'm going to be giving the number of days here. If you make the payment on, or before by 10 days of the invoice you are received, that is you'll be getting the 2% CAT discount. But according to my logic, it is not the 10 days. You have to make the fixed day. Fixed day is nothing but 10th month. 10th of this month. So I don't want to calculate the days here. I don't want to calculate the days here. You can remove the days and tell to the system that fixed day, the fixed day is nothing but 10th day. 10th of December. Now tell me now, I'm going to be receiving the invoice. I'm going to be receiving the invoice on 15, that is nothing but 12/15/2021. I'm receiving one more invoice. In this case, anybody can tell me now? In this case, last one.
This will be paid in next month's cycle.
Exactly, you're absolutely right. This will be paid on 10/01/2022. The system will consider the day as a 10. So that is the reason here. So you should be very specific of given. So it is not a day, Mahesh. It is a days means don't provide any information here. So it is a days means you have to take as a days here and you can give the 2% CAT discount. One option. So this payment term is applicable for both vendors and customers because you can assign the same payment term in both vendors and customers. No, Mahesh, it is only for the vendors, not for the customers. So deselect the customers. So what is the default for the baseline date? What is the default for the baseline date? When I call it as a baseline date, here you can see here the baseline date is the default. It is coming as 01/04/2021. What is your default baseline date? Do you want to take a posting date? Do you want to take an entry date, system entry date, or do you want to take a document date? Which date you want to take as a default? So for example, if I'm taking a posting date, today I'm posting one document. Today is nothing but December 1st. So I'm giving, you have to make the payment on or before of 10 days. 10 days, you will be getting a 2% of the cash discount. For example, you will be getting a 2% of cash discount. So if you make the payment on or before of within the 10 days, not on or before, within the 10 days, you will be getting the CAD discount. So when the document has got posted, the document has got posted on 1st of December. So this 1st of December is nothing but your baseline date. From this baseline date, it will calculate for 10 days. So what is your baseline date here? My baseline date is nothing but my posting date. So this is the date the system start doing the calculation so that I can get the area days. If the baseline date is crossed behind the date means I should see the area days. So the baseline date is very, very important. So what is your baseline date? Whether you want to take a no default means you can change it. If it is a posting date or a document date or an entry date, which is what you will take as a no. My dear friends, somebody tell me what is the difference between the document date and the posting date? If I see any document, if I go to the header, here you can see that document date, posting date, and here you can see the entry date. Somebody tell me what is the difference between the document date and the posting date and the entry date?
Document date is actual invoice date, whatever date is printed on the vendor invoice.
Okay, now tell me now one example now. Okay, now example, you can tell me now one example. Okay, now I'm giving the document date, the creation date, means the document creation date. For example, I'm giving a document date as 29 or 11/29, that is the November 2021. This is my document date. My posting date, example, my posting date is 12/01/2021. Is it acceptable?
Yes.
How?
Oh, no. It should be, yes, it is acceptable because you are posting that document in December.
So you're posting the document in this month, but the document, whatever the document you're creating, the document doesn't fall under the December, it falls under the November. The November period is closed.
But period will be checked based on posting date, not on document.
Exactly. Period will be always checked on the posting date, not on the document date. That is very, very important. Can the posting date can be before the document date? Anyone? Can the posting date can be before the document date?
No.
No, Mahesh.
Okay. Can the posting and the document date can be the same?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So here the logic is very clear to understand here. Okay. So whether you want to take the posting date and what is the entry date? Entry date and the document date and the system date is going to be the same. Entry date is nothing but it will go and check the system entry date here. This is not the document date or this is not the posting. This is the system entry date. So what is the payment term you want to take here as a default for the calculating the baseline date? So whether you want to go with the posting date or document date or entry date depends upon the requirement. Now here, the installment payments also going to be created. If the payment is going to be for the $1 lakh USD, $100,000 USD, you can also make a payment of installment if the installment is going to be available. If the installments are not available for the making of the payments, so you can deselect it. And here you can see here, what is the terms you are going to be giving. The first term is clearly explaining me, Mahesh, if you make a payment on or before of 10 days, nothing but from the invoice date, you will be getting a 2% CAT discount. Or if you miss this opportunity, you have to make the payment within 15 days. But this 15 days, I'm not going to be giving you any CAT discount, Mahesh, please. I'm not going to be giving you any cash discount. The first opportunity is nothing but the first option, 10 days, you will get a 2%. If you miss the 10 days, you have to make the payment within 15 days. So I can give up to 3 terms in one payment term here. I can give up to 3 terms in one payment term. If your payment term has been derived with the number of days with the 2%, if I'm going to be giving the fixed day as a 15, there is a conflict is there. There is a completely conflict is there. Either it should be considered as a fixed day or it should consider the number of days. So you should be very specific in giving this requirement. Very, very important. This is very, very important point. So how do you want to calculate the payment? This is what exactly. If I give some additional, for example, Mahesh, 10th month, 10th, and additional month I'm going to be giving as a 01. What does it mean that? Anyone? What does it mean that? Fixed day is a 10 and additional month I'm giving as a 01. Anyone?
So you can make the payment the next month 10th also.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. If the payment was created on, if the invoice was created on 12/1/2000, if you're not making the payment in the month of December, if I'm going to be giving some additional month, so you can have an feasibility to make the payment by December, no, so from the till the January 10th. This is the additional month which I'm going to be provided, depends upon the requirement. This is how the payment term is going to be created. That is the reason here. If you see that, if you see this invoice, the payment term is telling that Mahesh, you have to make the payment on or before. That is nothing but your baseline date. The payment term is immediate payment without any due date. So you have to make the payment by 01/4/2000. The baseline date is the immediate date here. That's the reason. That's the reason. If you see this particular invoice, already the due date was already crossed. Your liability was increased, means that your due date was already crossed. The baseline date calculation was completed and you are starting with arrear of the days. Is it clear about the payment term?
Sorry, Mahesh, one quick question. So when you're putting the fixed date, how you are calculating the discount?
When you're putting the fixed day or fixed date?
Fixed day on the top. So how are you calculating the discount? Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to be calculating. So here, what I'm going to do, I'll be taking as a 10. I'll remove the number of days here.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay. This is very simple. Okay. Day you are giving, but you are going to be giving as a percentage. But if you give the number of days, then there is a confusion for the system.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thanks.
So here you have to be very careful in giving. That is the payment term which is going to be calling. As the last class, I told that how do you see the number of areas means if I want to add 2 more fields here. Okay, if I go to the layout, change layout, in the layout, okay, I can see these are the fields which are going to be visible over here. But I just want to I want to add here. Okay, areas in net due date. I want to add this. And I want to add clearing date because the clearing was not done. Okay, so you cannot put the clearing date here. Days net. Okay, I want to add these 2 fields. I want to add the 2 fields. One is days area, another one is I selected as a number area days in the due date. I want to add on the top of this the amount in the local currency. I want to add in between this DD. DD is nothing but net due date symbol and the amount in the local currency. I want to add on the top of this amount in the local currency. Just push these 2 fields to the okay, show column. Okay, see here. Okay, these 2 fields have been added on the top. Now copy. Now you can see already this is the arrear days. Very, very important. Net due date is 0. Why? Because you already crossed the net due date. So 245 days, it is already crossed by based on the baseline date, it is calculating the 245 days. Now, can you make a payment, Mahesh? Can you please immediately, can you make a payment? When I want to make a payment, it is called as an outgoing payment. My dear friends, we have done the MIGO, we have done the MIRO, the invoice was created. Now you are making the payment to the vendor, means you're completely, your complete cycle is going to be closed. If you make a payment, you are clearing this invoice of $150. So can you please, Mahesh, can you make a payment to the vendor? So just clear this particular document, 510001 is the invoice document. Can you go and clear it? Okay, very good. So I'm coming to this clearing. Now I come to the accounting, financial accounting. I come to the accounts payable, document entry, because I'm creating the document as an outgoing payment. So document entry. So here you can see outgoing payment. F-53 is the post. If you want to make a printout, or if you can make it with the paper 53. If you want to send a request, request is a what type of document it is? Request. I'm sending the request. Vendor is sending the request to Mahesh. Hey, Mahesh, there is a liability of $150. It's almost 244 days, Mahesh. Can you make a payment? What type of document it is?
Noted.
Noted. It is called as a noted document. As I told you that this is going to be called as a noted document. If I go and see here, okay, in the project, this is called as a noted document. If you want to see the noted document, you can select here. Noted documents will not have any impact on the financial statement. This is only the request. Last week, I told the one example, down payment request is also a noted. So I'm coming to the outgoing payments, F-53. Now I'm making a payment to the vendor. Okay, today you are making the payment to the vendor. So the document date, I'm going to be giving the same date. I'm giving the same date. And KZ is nothing but KZ is the vendor outgoing payment document type. KZ is the vendor outgoing payment document type. So when you see here, when you see in this particular, there are two invoices are there. One is going to be called as a KR, another one is going to be called as a RE. RE is nothing but when you are receiving from the vendor with against the PO, with the purchase order. Last week we have done, that is the RE. When you are doing a manual invoice without any reference of the purchase order, you are posting a manual invoice, okay, not through the purchase order. You're posting a manual invoice, Mahesh, I'm creating a manual invoice. So here you can see here, invoice without any reference. So then the document type is going to be called as the KR. But this is the automated invoice which is coming through the MIRO, through the PO. So KZ. So today you're going to be giving here, okay, the date, document date and the posting date, both are going to be the same here. Okay, for which company code. And I'm giving the reference. Okay, reference, okay, reference anything. You can give the reference of, I'm just giving a reference of this particular document. I'm clearing this document, just I want to make it as a clear. So I'm posting this as a reference document number, text, outgoing payment, something. Now you can see here. My dear friends, now it is asking for a house bank in SAP ECC. We don't have an option to give the bank details here, but it is asking the house bank. What is a house bank? Now the main important here, house bank. House bank. I'm a manufacturer or I'm a service provider, something like that. Okay. I want some banks with my account, okay, something like, okay, I have an account in multiple banks. Some of the accounts we are going to be using for the current account. Some are going to be salaried accounts. Some are going to be the saving accounts, something like I hold multiple banks in my company. So whenever I want to issue the check to the vendor, so the check will be issued through my bank checkbook. Some normally we're going to be issuing, or we are going to do the wire transfer to the vendor to the company, something like. So we have some banks. Those banks we are going to be calling them as the house banks. Those banks, we call them as the house banks. I have two accounts in my bank. Okay, one is the Citibank. Citibank is the one account, and another one is the PNG is nothing but another bank. I have two accounts in two banks. So these banks I'm going to be maintained for making the payments or receiving the payments or transfer of the payments to the vendor and customer, something like water. So these are the two banks which are associated to me. Okay, so these banks are in my name. So these two banks are called as the house banks. These two banks are going to be called as the house banks. Every bank, there will be a bank account ID will be created. It's important that, but before you make the payment, do you have the house bank or not? No, Mahesh. Okay, if I go to the search help, I can see there are so many banks are there. Okay, you can see these are the number of banks which you have created for my company code. Okay, yes, I understand that. I understand that these are the number of the banks you have created. But whatever the bank I want to create, whatever the bank I want to use it for the making the transaction, for example, PNC Bank or some other bank, HDFC Bank or whatever, maybe that bank is not available, Mahesh. I opened a new account in another bank account. That bank I want to create it as a house bank, but that bank is not available. So I cannot give the bank details here. Can you show us how to create a bank here in SAP ECC to SAP S for a lot of differences there now? Can you show us how to create a bank before I make the payment to the vendor? Definitely, Mahesh. Definitely, Mahesh. For example, if for example, I'm giving a Citibank and in the Citibank, I have an account ID. This is my account ID. I'm going to be debiting from the current account. And what is my amount? $150 so that this amount should be get created from the Citibank. But I want to create a new bank, Mahesh. I don't want to credit from the Citibank. I just want to create a new bank here. How do you create a new bank? How do you create a new house bank in SAP S4 HANA? Very good. I'll show two important transaction codes first of all, then I'll go to the path. Okay, I'll go to the path. The path is going to be like this only. My dear friends, all of you remember that path is going to be the same. Financial accounting, bank accounting. You can see the bank accounts and you can see define the house bank. This is the path. This is the path. Define house banks. Before I make the payment to the vendor, first of all, I need to check whether the bank is available or not. If the bank is not available, definitely. So before you create any house banks, there are some changes you have to make it in the house bank details. Very, very important. These all are very, very important. Financial supply chain management. We call it as just I remove this everything. See, my dear friends, from the starting of the classes, I told that every class is an important and every class is a new syllabus for you. Every class is a new syllabus for you. I'm telling that because very, very important. I don't know in which class I'm going to be telling, what subject I'm going to be telling, because every class is interacted with another class. So now I'm discussing about the cash management, the topic called as the cash. Same in the same thing. I'm talking about the same thing in the house bank only. I'm going to give some important about the cash management. Earlier in SAP ECC, we call it as the cash and liquidity. Earlier we call it as the liquidity. Cash and liquidity management. In SAP ECC, I'm calling. In SAP ECC, we call it as the cash and liquidity management. There are three components are there in SAP S4 HANA accounting. If you come to the financial accounting, there are three components are there. One is going to be called as SAP accounting. Second one is going to be called as the SAP cash management. And third one, we are going to be calling it as the IBP. Okay, that is nothing but BPC. That is integrated business consolidation planning. Three components are there. SAP accounting. And the second one is going to be called as SAP cash management. And the third one is going to be called as the SAP BPC, that is business planning and consolidation. These all the three put together, it is going to be called as the financial accounting. We call it as the financial accounting. So there is a component called as the cash accounting. There is a component called as the cash management accounting. Normally in SAP ECC, by default, you are going to be getting the cash account and liquidity management within the same license. No need to take a separate license for the cash and liquidity management when you are using an SAP ECC. But now in SAP S4 HANA, We are going to be calling it as a cash management. Today, we don't have this cash and liquidity management at all in SAP S/4HANA. So we are going to be calling it as a cash management. If you want to work on with the cash management, you have to take a separate license. You have to take a separate license. It will not be get included in the same license when you take a license of SAP accounting. SAP accounting includes what? SAP accounting includes of the GL, AP, AR, asset accounting, and controlling, and COPA, and material ledger. Only these components. Whatever the classes we are discussing, only on these components only. But if you want to work on the SAP cash management, you have to take a separate license. There are two types of activations are there. One is going to be called as a basic. Second one is going to be called as advanced. For the basic cash management, no need to take a separate license. For a basic cash management, if you want to make a Mahesh, we don't want to go for the advance. When you can go for the advance, what is the why should I go for the advance? What are the benefits I'm going to be getting? If you want to do the banking with BAM and BCM, bank account management, bank communication management. If you want to open an account, if you want to open a new account in the bank, you need to follow certain approval processes. So that approval processes is nothing but bank account management, and the communication management is a different module we are going to. That is nothing but there are two things. If I go to the financial supply chain management, if I go to the collection, if I go to the cash and liquidity management, all of you can see here. Okay. Now today we don't have this cash and liquidity management. Today you can see here bank communication management is there. What is the bank communication management? So this is completely based on the approval process here. This is completely based on the approval. Whenever you want to make a payment, you need to follow the patent approval process. Whenever you want to create a new bank account, how the bank accounts are going to be managed, you are going to be. This is a separate module. Actually, this is a separate module. See, basic settings for the approval. Okay, you are going to be seeing communication management. There is a one more called as the bank account management is there. There is one more is going to be called as the bank account management. This is the completely different for the bank account. You are maintaining some accounts and you're sending the request to the banks and everything. This is a bank account management. If you want to work on the bank account management and the communication management, then you have to take a license that is going to be called as the advanced bank account management and the communication. You have to take a separate license. When I can go for the basic, Mahesh, when I can go for the basic, if the basic means, for example, you are doing the outgoing payments, very, very important. You are doing the outgoing payments. The outgoing payments are done through your house banks, but there is no need to do any kind of approval or maintaining the account or something like I don't want to use the bank account management and communication management. It is at the basic level. So you're receiving the invoice and you're making the payment to the vendor. That's all. I don't want to use any communication because if I want to open a new bank account, Mahesh, or if I want to make a payment, I need to follow certain approval process. That is, those approval processes are not there in our project implementation. No, Mahesh, we don't have any kind of approval process or something like, for example, if you're telling that if I go to the bank communication management, okay, you need to set some approvals, basic setting approvals. Okay, in the basic setting approvals, how the approval process has to be get designed, in which currency, which exchange rate, how the day submission. No, signature is required. No, we don't have this kind of approvals. No need to trigger any workflows. It's a common, Mahesh. It's a simple that I want to clear that invoice. I want to make an outgoing payment. So for this, should I require to activate the cash management? No, don't require. Because it is the basic thing you are going to be using. You're not going for the advanced process. Advanced process means you are using the bank account management and the bank communication management. For this, you need to take a separate license. For this, you need to take a separate license for this. For the basic thing, don't require any license. So directly you can go and activate the cash management. So here, if I come to very, very important topic, this is very, very important topic. If I come to the cash and liquidity management, we have a new component called as the cash management here. All of you can see here. Cash management, okay? So this cash management is going to be using for the process of payments here. So before that, you need to come to the general settings. In the general settings, very, very important, define the basic settings. Here you have to tell to the SAP whether you want to use the basic or you want to go for the advanced. So if we come to the define the basic settings, if you come to the basic settings, very, very important. See here. So one is going to be called as the cash scope. You want to go for a full scope, that is the advance. No, Mahesh, we don't have the full scope. Then I don't want to go for the full scope. Then if you want to go for the basic scope, you can tell us the basic scope. Only for the full scope, if you're going for a full scope, then you have to take a separate license for the cash management. It is not included in your SAP accounting as a default. Is it clear, all of you, first step?
Yes, Mahesh.
This is very, very important here. This is a new enhancement in our SAP S/4HANA. Where earlier we don't have this concept in our SAP ECC cash and liquidity management is by default, it is getting activated. Here you can see here, cash and liquidity management is directly getting activated, but now you had to activate your cash management here by grouping of all the things. That is a very, very important. If you want to work on the cash management process, then you have to activate as a full cash management, not as a basic. Okay. 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 So next one. After I activated that, okay. After I activated, okay, right. After I activated as the basic settings, okay, basic settings, I activated as the full scope and I want to work on the full scope. What are the next one? Next will come to the bank account management. In the bank account management, here we have called it the define number ranges for the change request, define number ranges for the bank technical IDs. Every bank will have some technical IDs. If I want to convert the bank, if I'm going to be converting my SAP ECC to SAP S/4HANA. So it's a very, very important, whatever the house banks which are there in our SAP ECC, those all the house banks I want to move into the SAP S/4HANA. So you need to define the number ranges. First of all, you need to define the number ranges and those number ranges should be maintained here. How many house banks are there? Okay, for example, I'm going to be giving up to 999999. So there are only 50 house banks have been got transmitted from the SAP ECC to SAP S/4HANA totally. The number ranges are very, very important. If I don't define the number ranges, you cannot do the banking transactions. Means you cannot complete your house bank's creation in your SAP S/4HANA. Number ranges are very, very important. Very, very important here. Very, very important. So once you define the number ranges, then only I can start creating the house banks. If you don't define the number ranges, you cannot create any house banks at all. So you're given the number ranges up to 9999. So you can create up to multiple house banks. But how to create the house bank must tell me now. Okay, because I'm going for a basic scope or a full scope. The basic thing is nothing but I want to have a one house bank in my SAP. How to create it? There are two transactions are there. I'll tell you. One is the path. I'll be using the path SPRO, IMG, financial accounting, bank accounting, bank accounts, and here you can see define the house bank. This is the one part. This is the one part. This is one path. Okay. This is directly you can come through the transaction code called as FI12. You can directly come through the transaction code called as FI12. If you come to the FI12, directly you can see this is the house bank. You're creating it a company code. But there is a new transaction code in SAP S/4HANA. FI12 underscore H bank. Please, all of you make a note of this. FI12 underscore H bank. This is a new transaction code in our SAP S/4HANA. If I go to this new transaction code, it will directly ask the company code. And you can create an house bank. You can see these are the house banks which are available. I can directly see in the house bank and everything I can see. This is the only the house banks you can see in our SAP S/4HANA. What are the house banks are there and everything. Before I create any bank in my SAP, yes, I'm creating one bank called as a HDFC. Okay, I'm creating one bank called a HDFC. I'm creating a new bank. For every bank, there should be one bank key will be there. Every bank, there will be one bank key will be there. The bank key will fetch all the address details about your house bank. First of all, you need to create a one bank key. The same house bank is available in two different locations, my dear friends. One is available, okay, in the same city. For example, if I take the same city in the Los Angeles or in the New Jersey, on the New York, for example, okay, the HDFC bank is available in the North Avenue Street, and the HDFC bank is also available in Southampton. Okay, in the Southampton. In the same New York, okay, the bank is available in the North Avenue and the Southampton. Okay, that is nothing but I have the account in the both the banks. I have the accounts in the HDFC bank in the North Avenue and the Southampton. But the address details are going to be different. Bank is going to be the same, but the address details are going to be the different. So you need to create a one bank key for that. IFSO code in India, we call it as an IFSO code actually. If you open your checkbook, you will find a code, a bank key code will be available on the top of your checkbook. Bank key is very, very important for us. So first you create the bank key. How to create a bank key? So FI01, go to the transaction code called as the FI01. Enter. Which country? US. Bank key. Give the bank key. The bank will provide you the key. Actually, if you go to the bank, they will look. If you ask what is the bank key for our bank, they will provide you one bank key. Or otherwise, you can see on the notice board. Okay, you can see on the notice board. They will provide you the bank key on the notice board. Also, you can see on the display. Here, the bank key is 01. For example, I'm just taking an example. 01 5555. Example. This is the bank key. Enter. Now, give the name of the bank. The name of the bank is nothing but HDFC Bank. Where is the region? The region is the New York or New Jersey. Where exactly? So you can see here. Okay, New Jersey or New York, or you can also give the New York. Okay, I'm giving a New York. Street. Okay, North Avenue. City, New York. Branch is the North Avenue branch actually. It's the North NORTH. So I'm giving the same. Any big code, bank information code, any big code, shift code for the international payments. Okay, for example, leave it as a blank. Okay, I'll tell you this. Now there is address, complete address you have to provide. Go to the address sheet and give the complete address about your bank. Okay, bank is called as a company. Okay, HDFC Bank. Okay, and the street is a North Avenue, and the bank name. Okay, it is available somewhere in the postal code 12345 something. Okay, New York, and the country is the US, and the region is going to be called as the NY New York. Okay, something like I'm giving the region. And if you want to extend the bank details, you can extend. Okay, something like, okay, I've given all the details and say, okay, enter. Now save it. Your bank key is 15555. If you don't have the bank key, you cannot create. You can't create any house banks in SAP. If you don't have the house banks, if you don't have the bank key, if you're not created the bank key, you cannot create any house banks in SAP. The first priority step is nothing but create the bank account with the bank key that is called the FI01. FI01. Now I'm saving it. Yes, your bank key was created. Your bank US 015555 was created. Very good. Now, after you create the bank key, now you have to go and create the house bank. Okay, very good. Now come to the transaction. FI12, enter. Now you can see which company code you're going to be creating. Select your company. House banks are created at a company code level. Select your company code. House banks are created at a company code level. Very, very important, my dear friends. One company code, you can have multiple banks also. Now select your house bank. Double click on house bank. Yes. So for this company code, I can see, Mahesh, these many banks are available. So I want to create a new bank now. Okay, how to add a new bank? You have to go for a new entry. You have to go for a new entry. Now tell me, what is a bank name? Okay, okay, for example, okay, HDFC, for example. Which country, Mahesh? US. What is the bank key, Mahesh? Can you tell me what is the bank key? Now here it is asking the bank key. Now go to the details. So many banks key will be there. You can search based on the search criteria by giving the country as a US. You can give as a country as a US and press enter. Now you can see these many house bank keys are there. What is our bank key? 105555. Second one is ours. Just now we have created. Double click on it. Yes, I got my bank key now. Now click on create now. Now click on create. Yes. Now you can see the address of your bank will fetch from the bank key here. Okay, if you click on the address, you can see the address and everything. So the house bank and everything, the address is coming. Okay, so there are no international payments. So I'm not given any big code, everything, but address were created and everything. Now, if you want to change anything, you can go and you can click on the change option and you can do the changes. If you want any required changes can be done. But if you don't want to do the changes, now directly you can save it to your bank. Okay, your bank was created, only your house bank was created, but that bank account was not created. Your account IDs are not created, just you have created your house bank. What type of account you are using in this bank? Is a salary account or current account or a loan account or interest account, or what type of account it is? You have created just house bank. Where is my bank account number also? I don't have any kind of bank account numbers here. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. So here you need to click on the bank accounts. You need to click on the bank accounts. My dear friends, today we are going to be using the full scope of house banks. Basic scope is there, full scope is there. Now today we have changed the component of basic and a full scope by using the cash management. So today, lot of approval processes are going to be implemented. So there is a change in SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA. Now the creating of the bank accounts have been directly moved to NWBC. You cannot directly create the bank accounts through SAP. So you have to use the transaction called as NWBC or directly from the Fiori. I'll tell you what is the Fiori and everything. We have the Fiori and everything. Earlier in SAP ECC, because of the cash and liquidity is directly available, so there is no approval process, something like we are directly getting one license and everything. But today you're dividing the cash management into two components. One is the basic, another one is going to be called as the advanced. In the advanced, I'm going to be using the bank communication management. If I want to create a new bank account, you have to follow certain approval process. Directly, you cannot create the house bank. So that is the reason. So today, if I go to the bank accounts, see here, you cannot create any bank accounts directly in the view. You can only see the read axis only. You cannot create, see, there is no new entry option at all. There is no new entry option at all. You cannot create. Earlier we have a create option is there, but today we don't have the create option at all. Why? Because there is a change in our SAP S4 HANA because of the cash management component by implementing the BCM and the BM as a full scope. So today you have to create your house bank account IDs through NWBC. Net to your business client or the front end is going to be called as the Fiori. No, directly you cannot create the bank. No, today we cannot create any house bank directly from the GUI. No. Graphical user interface. This is going to be called as the GUI. This is going to be called as the GUI. No, you cannot create any house bank through the GUI directly. You need to follow the NWBC or the Fiori. Because we are going to be for a full scope with the bank account management and the communication management. So there should be a workflow approval has to be get triggered for creating of a new house bank. So directly I cannot use the GUI. So now here there is an option called the create bank account is there. See here, all of you, please, very, very important. Create bank account is there. If I click on the create bank account, it will open a web browser. You can see it will open a new web browser. It will open a new web browser here. That one is nothing but we are going to be calling a SAP NetWeaver business client. That is going to be called SAP application server. It will be open a new web browser. From the web browser, you can go and you can create the house banks here. This is one option. Or you have to go to the Fiori. Where you have to go? You have to go to the Fiori. Now, Fiori is a front-end server. We are going to be using the Fiori as a front-end server. So if I double click on the Fiori, it will take me to the Fiori. It's a web application. So if you have this web application ID with you, if you have the web application ID, www web ID, you can directly copy this web ID and go to the Internet Explorer and use the Internet Explorer ID and it will loading your page. Okay. So it is loading the page. So you'll get all the Fiori apps over here. It's a very, very important, my dear friends. I'll tell you that. Okay. 1 second. It is loading. Just let it get loaded. See, this is the Fiori. I'll tell you there's separate classes on there in the Fiori. I'm going to explain you separate classes on the Fiori. There will be 2 to 3 classes will be there on the Fiori. This is how the Fiori look like. This is the front end now. From today onwards, your all the transactions and any kind of master data you can directly create from the Fiori. So here I'm searching one app name that is called as a manage house bank. I'm searching for one bank app name actually. 1 second, it is getting loaded. Yeah, what is the app name? House bank. It's not a practical, just because the Fiori classes are very, very important for us. Just I'm giving some examples here. I'm searching for one bank account ID that is for the house bank. So I'm giving a hint of house bank. So there is no workflow was activated. If I want to create, for example, you cannot create a bank account here in a dual control or a workflow mode. Why? Because the workflow, because they have not activated the full scope here. Okay, they have activated only the basic scope. That is the reason if I go to any bank, for example, if I go to any bank, if I double click on the bank accounts, if I want to click on the create any new bank account, it is giving an information. You cannot create a bank accounts here in a dual control or a workflow. So something like, okay, it is telling that either you can create your bank accounts through the NWBC, NetWeaver business client or a Fiori client. So I'm using the Fiori here. This is the Fiori. This is what exactly I'm going to be using the Fiori. This is completely, I call it as the Fiori. All of you, please, very, very important. This is the Fiori. So when the system is issuing a message for you, if the system is issuing a message, you cannot create bank accounts in a dual control or a workflow. If I go to the details, okay, you are trying to create an house bank, but it is not allowed from here. Workflow dual control is implemented in the system for the bank account management. This is what exactly I want, bank account management. To create a bank account, go to the basic settings, customizing activities, specify the activity directly in the bank account reason, maintain the event link between the triggering the workflow. Means what it is telling that. Yes, go back, Mahesh. Can you go back to one step back? SP Orvo. IMG. Come to the supply chain management, financial supply chain management. Can you go to the cash and liquidity management? Can you go to the general settings? Before the general settings, it is giving a bank account management, basic settings. Basic settings, okay. 150 bank number ranges you are given properly. Now go to the bank basic general settings. Go to the basic settings now. Okay. So directly activate, you are given that bank account activation, you are given it as a directly activate. So it cannot be created. It should be followed with the license application, even though you are activated. So it should be given with a dual control. See here, you are given as a direct activate directly. That is the reason I am not able to create any house banks. So if you want to create a new house bank, very, very important. If I go to the new screen /O FI12, if I want to create a new bank account for any company code, if you want to use the workflow process or everything, for example, if I'm selecting one of the banks, Citibank, I want to create a new bank account. Okay, right. If I want to click on the new bank account, it is giving that you cannot create the bank account here, dual control of the workflow mode. See, very, very important. So that is the reason activate directly is the old option in our SAP ECC, but now you have to go for the activate with the dual control. You have to select this option and save it. Save it. Very good. Now you are activated with the dual control. Come out. Just come from the starting. FI12. Go to your company code. Sometimes it will take some time to activate. Okay, so let me check it here. Any house bank, for example. One second. It is not activated, so it is taking some time. But we have activated the dual control in the bank account management. It's okay. So go for the basic customizing activity, activate directly with the revision and the bank account link or the customizing activity, deactivate the event link for that. Okay, so we have done it. Okay, that is through the NWBC. The Fiori app manage bank account, have the application and the create a house bank. Okay, right. Now we are creating house bank. I want to find out that app. I
think it is manage bank overview and maintenance.
So I maintained manage bank overview only, no? I maintained differently.
I think house bank linking is also there in that app.
Okay, one second. It is, I not activated it because I seen only one path over here. Activated, no?
No, in Fiori.
Okay, Fiori you're talking. Okay, okay.
Yeah, in Fiori,
okay, in Fiori you're talking.
Manage bank.
Okay, I'm talking. Okay. I'm searching for it. Okay, so first let me search with the bank. The bank apps are not even available. That is the reason it is not giving. The apps are not available related to the bank. If I give the manage, I have the manage validity. There is no house bank management, house bank. Because the bank, house banks, the app is not activated. Actually, that is the reason it is not giving the solution. Okay, so bank. No, the bank apps are not activated. 1 second. If I go to this Fiori, so we need this app actually. We need this app. Okay, we need this app. If I go to SAP Fiori library, if I go to SAP S4HANA apps, all apps, if I give here, I'm looking for this app, House Bank. Okay. I'm looking for this bank. Okay, these are the apps actually. So bank account management. Okay, so I'm looking for this particular bank account. I want this app actually, House Bank account app. I need this app actually, House Bank account app. That app is not available over here. So I can see that House Bank accounts are not available. I'll make sure that the app is going to be available. Don't worry. In the next class, I'll ask my Fiori consultant. Okay, I'll report it to the server team. 1 second, it is loading. Let it get loaded. Okay, so this is the, okay, I'll take it. Don't worry. So I cannot create any house bank. Okay, so directly I need to go to the Fiori Launchpad, or I need to go to the NWBC. That is the point here. I'm just want to specify it. So I don't find that app, but I'll make sure that app is going to be available in the next class. By next class, I'll see that. I'll ask manage accounts are there, but manage bank accounts are not available. No, it is not available. Okay. I'll show that. Okay, so we are creating a house bank. That house banks are getting created by the effector. So tomorrow we'll continue the class with the creation of the house banks, and we'll see one transaction for the outgoing payments tomorrow in the class. Okay. Thank you very much, all of you. Okay, take care. Buddy.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.